There's a major reason why we need to teach people to do healthy relationships and also not to stay in unhealthy relationships. So rather than put a lead on relationship issues so that we encourage people to be in a relationship, which is what society does, it puts pressure on people to be in relationship. So we normalize unhealthy behaviors. We teach people to tolerate or put up with unhelpful habits or unhealthy behaviors from partners and even from ourselves. And we then, in doing that, we perpetuate crimes of passion. And what happens is, with these crimes of passions, which are the main reason why we need to avoid unhealthy relationships or teach people to avoid unhealthy relationships, teach people to learn to do healthy relationships and to choose healthy relationships, teach people to identify red flags and act on them, and teach people to communicate in a healthy way, to express their needs and to maintain boundaries. It's because people will become resentful when they are faced with someone who treats them badly. Let's say someone is in a toxic relationship where they are being treated badly or they are exposed to abusive behaviors. They become resentful, they become angry. And what they do is, because they are not expressing themselves in a healthy way, they become cruel because of their anger, because of their resentment. And what they would do is they can start doing nasty things towards their partner, who's also doing nasty things to them. Because in that dynamic, the partner who's perpetuating the abusive or unhealthy behaviors is being cruel towards the second partner. And then the second partner in turn will also act out. They might not do it in a way that other people see, or they might, because some people talk to their friends and they discuss and then they share what they might do, these nasty things. And meanwhile, they are staying put in that relationship. And there's bad treatment, there's cruelty, there's also a situation like, the reason why I had to share this is because I heard about this situation of two immigrants who went into a country and then they had problems, and one reported the other, and then the other one, also the second one, went to report the first one, and then they were both deported. Why? Because the relationship has become unhealthy, has become toxic, and they can't live together. Rather than focus on just deciding to part ways and each person does what they are doing, they become nasty to each other. That's because they were probably putting up with bad behavior from each party, or the first party was putting up with the bad behavior from the second party, and then they got to a point where they felt resentful, where they became angry, where they couldn't tolerate the bad behavior. And this is exactly why we need to make sure we are teaching people about healthy relationships and teaching people not to stay in unhealthy relationships, because this can actually go further than just like what this couple did. People harm each other in relationships because they have reached a point where they cannot tolerate each other. And maybe because one person is refusing to leave. And maybe one person is not communicating they want to leave. And maybe one person is also not just making the decision to just leave. Or another person can leave, or they might want to leave, but they are scared of what this other person might do. Because that cruelty, that hatred has reached that critical point where people can do anything in that relationship. This is why you need to be careful about how you do relationship, rather than try to force matters and also try to make things work in a relationship that's unhealthy. Look out for yourself. Recognize and read the red flags and the patterns that are not helpful, that you can see clearly, and leave, because it doesn't get better. It won't get better. If someone doesn't like you, or they've decided that they don't like you anymore, then that's going to be a problem. And if someone is coming into a relationship with red flags, they are not going to change for you. And if someone is tolerating your bad behavior, you need to be scared. Because at the end of the day, who puts up with bad behavior? What makes them really courageous enough to come into an unhealthy relationship, a situation where they know or they can see that someone doesn't like them that much? It's important that we look after ourselves and we teach people about healthy relationships, about red flags, about unhealthy relationships, about looking after themselves so that they don't gravitate towards unhealthy situations or stay in unhealthy situations, because something has to give in any situation which is not working out or which is unhealthy. Something has to give. And I'm hoping you stay safe in these relationships or change.